The return of NBA basketball is one every fan of the sport is anxiously looking forward to, but along the way there have been a ton of complications and unfortunate circumstances, whether it's been players testing positive, others refusing to take part in the restart for a variety of reasons, and even some injuries have taken place in practices already. Because of these circumstances, we're primed to see some big-time breakouts from players that otherwise weren't exactly big-time contributors throughout the season, which brings us to the topic of today's video. Today we'll be discussing why I have a very strong feeling that Alex Caruso of the Los Angeles Lakers and Shake Milton of the Philadelphia 76ers are primed to step into major roles for their teams and prove themselves to the point that the minimum contracts that they're currently signed to will look like absolute steals, and when they expire, could find themselves on the other end of a hefty monetary offer. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. We'll start with Alex Caruso, and I'm sure you all know him for a variety of reasons, but in large part, he's become a bit of a meme in the NBA community. The way he's worked his way into an NBA rotation is inspiring for sure, and he was by no means guaranteed anything at this level, so now that he's here, the fans have taken a liking to him. Caruso is a guard that went undrafted out of Texas A&M in 2016 after finishing his career as the school's all-time leader in assists and steals, so despite him not necessarily standing out much in the eyes of NBA scouts, he did establish himself as a very solid playmaker on both ends of the floor. He spent his first year of his career with the Oklahoma City G League team after getting cut by the Thunder during training camp, and never got called up throughout that year. It was during the Summer League of 2017 that Caruso started to make a name for himself and emerge in the NBA world when he signed with the Lakers, and alongside Lonzo Ball in the Summer League run that year, he showed off some surprisingly bouncy athleticism and a knack for creating opportunities. This led to him actually managing to stick with the Lakers, but over the next 2 seasons, he was still going back and forth between the G League and the NBA, and only playing sparingly when he was with the Lakers. That all changed this season though, and in a year where the Lakers had their highest expectations in years, nobody could have seen it coming that they would be relying upon an undrafted guy like Caruso to play big minutes alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but that's exactly what's about to happen. Caruso on the year is averaging a mere 5.4 points, 1.9 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game, which is far from notable or eye-popping, and because of this, many fans have become kind of annoyed with the amount of attention that he gets. He definitely is capable of creating some impressive highlight plays and throwing down some vicious dunks, but his production in the eyes of many isn't worthy of the level of praise that he gets. But news broke just a few days ago that Rajon Rondo fractured his thumb, and injuries like that can take up to 2 months to heal before getting cleared to return to play. With Rondo now out of the rotation, there are 20 extra minutes at the point guard position up for grabs, and Caruso will undoubtedly be claiming a lot of them. This may not seem like that much of a big deal, but allow me to explain why this could actually be huge and low-key a blessing in disguise for the Lakers. For starters, Rondo's fit with the Lakers has been questionable from the moment he arrived, and alongside LeBron James, the lineups featuring 2 of them have struggled. With Rondo off the court, lineups with LeBron James outscore opponents by 3 more points per 100 possessions, and the offense scores 6 more points in that same span compared to when Rondo's on the court. Now applying that to the eye test, when you watch Laker games, the pairing doesn't even look like a good fit, and in theory, it seems set up for failure as well, because Rondo historically has been a floor general that struggles to shoot from the perimeter, and his best work is done with the ball in his hands, but at this point in his career, he's not nearly as effective as he once was. Plus, LeBron James hasn't shown any signs of slowing down at all, and he too needs the ball in his hands a ton in order for not only he himself to play his best, but for the Lakers to be at their best as well. On teams with LeBron, the best lineups have always been him surrounded by shooters and maybe another superstar, and the best Lakers lineups also back this claim up, making Rondo a weird fit. Now bringing this back to how it affects Caruso, he happens to be the kind of player much more suited for a role alongside LeBron, and the numbers back it up too. With Caruso on the court alongside LeBron, the Lakers are outscoring teams by an incredible 20 points per 100 possessions, a number much higher than that of Rondo mentioned earlier. And this is because Caruso's a more reliable shooter from the perimeter, he's a far better defender than Rondo at this point in Rondo's career, and more importantly, his work off the ball beats Rondo's by a ton. This may all seem like way too much praise for a guy that only scores 5 points per game, but again, his impact has been much more than just scoring, and with Rondo set to miss some time, he will have a bigger role, where I think the Lakers will realize he's ready to embrace more meaningful minutes in the rotation. Now moving on to the other player we'll be discussing in a very similar situation heading into the restart, let's talk about Shake Milton and the Philadelphia 76ers. Shake, like Caruso, was not exactly the kind of prospect who came into the league as a well-known hot commodity. He played 3 seasons at SMU in college, established himself as an excellent shooter of the ball, and over time began to develop more and more as a playmaker off the dribble. During his 3rd and final season in college, he really started to break out and get noticed by NBA scouts, with some giving him a first-round grade, but unfortunately his season was cut short by a hand injury, and those injury worries did hurt his draft stock. After being someone who was seen with a chance at being a late first-round pick, he actually ended up sliding all the way to the end of the 2nd round, and he was selected 54th overall by the Dallas Mavericks, but then traded immediately to the Philadelphia 76ers. This slip has now proven to be a blessing in disguise not only for Milton, but for the 76ers as well, but again, he by no means was guaranteed anything. In his rookie season in Philadelphia, the team was near the top of the Eastern Conference with massive expectations, so realistically, a 2nd-round pick was not going to break into the rotation. But that didn't discourage Shake, and he used his time spent in the G League to his advantage, and he became one of the best and most productive players in the G League that season. He averaged about 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists down in the minors, and after a crazy offseason full of roster changes this summer, he came into this year ready to work his way into consistent, steady minutes with the Sixers. Early on, it looked like everything was about to fall into place, but once again the injury bug struck, and being on a team with a bunch of players battling for minutes, he briefly fell out of the rotation again. The crazy thing is that Brett Brown actually told Shake at one point that he was likely out of the rotation for the rest of the season, but when both Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid suffered injuries, the team got desperate and once again gave him a chance. Shake had been waiting for this moment to prove himself for 2 years now, and he made the absolute most of it. His emergence came on the biggest stage of a nationally televised game against the title-contending Clippers, and in that game, he erupted for 39 points and torched one of the best teams in the whole league. He carried this momentum for a while, and in the last 7 games before the season was put on pause, he was averaging about 19.5 points and 4 assists per game, while shooting a ridiculously efficient 59% from the field and 61% from 3. Now that we're up to date on what Shake's been up to, let's discuss why I think he's set for an even bigger breakout, as if it's not already pretty obvious. Dating all the way back to the 2017 NBA draft, the Sixers have been desperately searching for a combo guard that can score from all 3 levels, and at the same time, they thought they found their guy in Markelle Fultz. What Fultz was in college versus what he is now in the NBA due to some serious shoulder problems that went undiscovered for 2 years are 2 completely different players, and this resulted in the relationship between him and the team flaming out. Because of that, a giant hole in that shot creator spot has been missing, and now I truly believe Shake Milton is ready to be that guy. Reports have come out from people on the team saying that Shake Milton is being used as the team's starting point guard in practice, which means that some of the burden of creating plays will be taken off of Ben Simmons' shoulders, Al Horford will likely be going to the bench, and the spacing and overall functionality of the lineup will be greatly improved, all of which are incredibly positive signs for Philadelphia. Shake's ability to penetrate off the dribble, pull up and shoot from all 3 levels, and serve as a pick-and-roll ball handler make him a seemingly perfect fit, and the fact that he's been shooting a highly impressive 45% from 3 on the season will only open things up even more. Alex Caruso is already a pretty big name amongst NBA fans, but Shake isn't quite there. Yet both of these career bench players have a chance to establish themselves as very important pieces to playoff contenders. I'm super excited to see what's in store for the both of them when games start back up at the end of the month, and if all goes right, they'll both be in for some pretty hefty raises when the time comes for their next contract extension. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how you think they'll perform when play starts back up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.